Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and I'm joined by our VP of Operations, Amanda, and our wonderful guest for you today, Uwe Dockhorn. And today we're going to be talking about how Uwe, a lifestyle liberator, is helping to bring high achievers closer to their family and away from the constant hustle. Uwe is a lifestyle liberator for high achievers and their families. He believes in freedom and inner certainty that shows up in your business financially and emotionally in your relationships. You know, we are so thrilled to have you on the show today. Welcome, 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 Uwe.
Well, it's a pleasure having you to be here, honestly, and not having me because that's my spiel or usually. No, it's really an honor to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we are super excited to get started. And for everyone who's joining us for the first time, please don't miss a single episode. Go ahead and subscribe to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, please click all 5 stars for a review. We would certainly very much appreciate it. All right, well, let's dive in. And you start by telling us about your journey to becoming a lifestyle liberator, which I love that phrase. I mean, how did you decide on this path?
Well, this path really, I think it's the best to really go and start from the beginning where it all started, just to make it clear to your audience here. So you see, 6 days before Christmas 2016, my mother died, and I became the last remaining member of my close family. And just can you imagine the full understanding of what is truly important in life that is held in a moment like that?
Yeah.
Right. So she was the one that brought me into this world, and I always cherished that I was there for her, holding her hands when she left.
Yeah.
And I loved my family and was my safe haven, like like a campfire that you can come to feel comfortable around, and just be part of a family. But it wasn't always like this.
Yeah.
And as a young boy, I was sexually abused and told no one. I relied on that safe haven of family until I lost 2 very important members, my uncle when I was 16 and my father when I was 23. Something just broke inside of me. And I started to believe my family has given up on me. And I distanced myself from the rest of them, even my mother, because I didn't tell her. I just couldn't. You know,
Right.
I didn't, yeah, you can understand that. So I didn't feel comfortable telling anyone what I was going through. When I looked around, I thought everyone else had it together, and it was just me not coping. So after the death of my uncle and my dad, I tried everything to compensate for the big hole inside of me where my family used to be. But nothing worked. I became isolated, separated from friends, lost my job, was overwhelmed, physically and emotionally exhausted, and felt there was no reason for being in this world.
Yeah.
I was convinced that I could not feel anything. And the truth was, Lynn, I didn't feel anything. I
Yeah.
was numb. So that's when I found myself on the edge of a bridge. And I remember it was a crystal clear but bitterly cold winter night. And I was watching the stars, breathing the cold air in and out. I could see my breath. So I slowly leaned forward. I let go. But at that moment, something happened. While everything else was pitch black inside and out, I saw a tiny little light inside me. And then I felt it. Something sitting right under my nose. And because I hadn't been able to feel it, I couldn't perceive it. So for the very first time since my father had died 5 years before that, I felt something inside me, and it drew me back. So that night, I learned an important lesson, and it took me more than 20 years of continuous personal development to create the AIM system, my proprietary work, that creates lasting results in people in 8 hours or less. And like on the bridge that night, the secret that nobody in the industry of transformation and health is really focusing on is letting go is only 50% of the equation.
Yes.
So without the other half of the equation, letting go leaves you in free fall. So what if I tell you the other 50% after you let go is to feel, perceive, and let in what is already there? It's like a muscle. Letting go and letting in is a two-part mechanism, and it happens at the same time always. So, but we are so focused on letting go, and we miss the opportunity to consciously bring in what is there in that very moment to help us, to help you to get into action and do things differently. So, for the very first time since my father had died, I felt something inside me on that bridge, and it drew me back from jumping. And I made a promise myself 27 years ago, or even longer, that I'm still keeping today, is helping other people to learn this. And this is kind of like where the idea of like the liberating lifestyle just began, because it's kind of like breathing, breathing in and breathing out. It's part of our daily life. Letting go is like breathing something out of your system, and letting in is like breathing in what is already there from your system. And both are connected. So can you see how important it is to understand this? So to start a liberating lifestyle, you first have to let go. That is what we know. But what people are mostly missing is the letting in part. And that is how it all started.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
Yeah, that's a really powerful story. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I like what you're saying about letting go, but also letting in. And you call yourself the lifestyle liberator, which we've mentioned. What do you mean by that exactly? And who are you liberating and from what?
Yeah, so the letting go and letting in part is the key to, even be able to liberate your lifestyle, as I just mentioned. And so that's at the bottom of everything I do. It's just based on that experience that I give to all my clients, and I help. Essentially, there is, when they go, there are three phases in life. Let's put it that way. So there is, when you come into this world, you are absolutely dependent on everything. So you got to be fed, got to be cleaned, and you repeat. So, but every step you make, you step towards being independent. And so that is the next, I call it the paradigm, because there are totally different sets of rules, in that. But there's even a third level, and that is becoming interdependent, because you can start being independent, you can feel independent, but when you reach out and create a partnership, then it's kind of like, the codependencies start, one partner is more dependent on the other. So that's where my focus is, to help them via letting go, letting in, to shift from one paradigm to the next. And this is essentially important for my clients, and they are in-demand professionals, typically executives, C-suite, medical professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, and they're, as I call them, VIPs. They're very important partners at home. So this is who I help, and I hope that explains what I mean. It's really, the liberating lifestyle starts when you master letting go, letting in, by shifting from a dependent lifestyle to an independent lifestyle, upgrading to an interdependent lifestyle with your partner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sounds like really great work that you're doing. And I really admire that you're helping these people in these different stages. I want to shift to hustle culture a little bit. Hustle culture, it can be soul sucking and leave us feeling like zombies and slaves to the hustle. How do you help liberate people from that mess?
Well, essentially what I just said. So it's really stepping into your independence first within the relationships, and this is so important because when you're step in your own independence, as I mentioned, there's a different set of rules organizing that. Before, you were trapped in false beliefs or something that you created in your past. I call this also elephant thinking. So because they're going to really stick for a long time, they even influence, the causal effect is really like having, creating your limiting beliefs first. You program yourself without knowing better, of course. Some extraordinary incident happens to all of us. And then you create a pattern out of this. And, these patterns steer your daily behavior. So even when you try to escape that while you're still in that dependent level, you will not succeed, because I always make this kind of like comparison. So it's just like walking like an Egyptian. So just kind of like the behavior is represented here by your hand, then you just kind of like goes down is your patterns, and your belief system is down here. So you just walk like an Egyptian, and you're not independent in that regard. So it's really about being conscious about all the old core beliefs that you have, to let go of them and let in something else that is more positive and hopeful, to step into your independence first. And essentially in relationships is that important, because there's always the danger and the risk of a divorce. And in COVID times, it has become, that we stick more together, more than we want, because we are all at home. And there are numbers out there that prove that even domestic violence has increased. So, and when you just sit on each other and you don't have something to, you always have to deal with each other and not having separate independent lives, the divorce can come up closer than you want. And so I always say, that clients who had a divorce, essentially it was their cry for independence. So because you can get your independence back when you are divorced. So I help clients, during their marriage to become independent, so they are having a divorce-proof marriage.
Yeah, well, that's really phenomenal. I mean, especially that dynamic that you're talking about, and specifically about helping high achievers. I've always been fascinated with your approach and how you strengthen high achievers' relationships with their families. And I'd love you to share more about how you do that.
Yeah, so essentially, I think I have a different approach to that, because I'm not a family counselor. I'm nothing like that. I'm a coach. And so what differentiates me from family counsel and similar solutions for couples who struggle with their relationship or see tendencies they bring into that ballpark. You see, when I started working with business owners, executives, C-suite, and medical professionals, I realized over time that from the perspective of their spouses or life partners, they're feeling more and more abandoned and asking themselves, what about me? What is the next step in my career? And so they feel they are down, literally down here. And when on the other side, you have the provider up here. And they feel they're down there and their partner is up here. And this is simply not a good and healthy relationship, right? So what differentiates me is that I will coach both partners individually and bring them with their results together in evaluation sessions.
Yeah.
And as you know, I call them more like falling back in love sessions, because that's what they really experience, full of goosebumps moments. They can start to level up to each other, see becoming eye to eye again. And that's what they love so much. And and here they regain their independence within their relationship first,
Yeah.
and then they rediscover their deeper connections and are ready to upgrade their relationship to an interdependent status, where both of them cherish and honor their individual independencies. So, but what is even more important is that you see the VIPs not only want to provide emotionally for their family, they also want to provide financially. And so they want to contribute to their family. And that's why my promise to my clients is to giving them back their family mojo, double their financial security, and living in abundance in all areas of their life without feeling guilty or constantly questioning themselves. And the doubled financial security is more of a qualitative than a quantitative measurement, honestly, because after the VIPs found their confidence again to restart their careers or start fresh as entrepreneurs, they ultimately want to be recognized for their expertise and leveling up to their partners. So
Yeah.
this is, yeah.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. And you also just mentioned financial security and how your liberation helps with that. How do you do that, and how major of a consideration should money be when escaping that hustle culture?
Yeah, absolutely. So money is always an issue, especially in that's one of the topics that comes up the most in marriages. So there are numbers around that. But more importantly is that I just mentioned, it's really about the contribution to the family and the feeling to be recognized what they do. And but we're doing this in in my program that is the AIM system. There's at one stage they after they really learned how to use letting go, letting in, it's kind of like you have free access to all of your resources. So definitely, oh, there's a lot I can let in now in my life and in my lifestyle in all 7 areas. Woo, let's get to it. And of course, we start often with the professional and the money focus here, because it's so important for that kind of contribution that you can gain through that work. So it's really diving deep in there, and we create something what I call the your $1 million sentence. So for example, my $1 million sentence is, I decipher patterns and translate them into form. So, which might not mean much to you, but it means the world to me. Because this is what my career is based upon. This is how I efficiently, effectively can help my clients to get to that point, to discover their $1 million sentence that brings them certainty. Because certainty is more important than confidence, because certainty comes first. So confidence of authenticity comes automatically when you are certain about yourself and what you love to do. And when you have that kind of certainty aligned internally, the external world changes for you. But you have to find that within yourself first. So that's kind of like, helping both partners. Of course, the focus is different, very individually. We might also start sometimes in the spiritual world. So it depends on the clients, because I do one-on-one coaching with them. So it's really personalized to their agenda.
Yeah. Well, and I have to admit, Uwe, I'm to share with everyone that I'm a big fan of your three-step program called the AIM system, and how you help in-demand professionals and their very important partners, the VIPs, in their lives. So can you share with our audience a little bit about those 3 steps, and ultimately how that really set your clients up for that abundance?
Absolutely. So yeah, so the AIM system is a system that goes 3 levels deep. And those 3 levels are activation, implementation, and manifestation. So it's the acronym AIM, stands for the AIM system. So it's kind of like in that double sense, but it really goes that 3 levels deep. And we first activate, of course, as I mentioned, your letting go and letting in mechanism. And as a result, there are 3 key points important at that level. So essentially, what we do is we liberate your vitality first. You know me, I'm all about energizing results. That's my signature phrase. So it's like, energizing results to all of you. But how to get there, how to have access to that kind of vitality in a hustling world, and all that, is you need to liberate your vitality first, because you're trapped in unconscious tasks like false beliefs, holding them up and stuff like that. So no, we don't want that. We want to really liberate your vitality. And second, by doing that, we are essentially cracking your code of personal transformation. And this is key, because if you understand how to transform, you can easily shift by using letting go, letting in, getting better and better and better in all the areas of your life later on. And essentially, the third point I want to make here, what we do with you, is we essentially activate your very own anti-burnout system.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that is
Amazing.
what it means. Right. So, and the second level deep is implementation. And here, as I just mentioned, we double your financial security. And again, it's more the qualitative, how to be in that relationship, but finding that peace, that $1 million sentence within yourself. So really, have a basis of certainty to feel, what clients always describe is kind of like they feel like they're in control, they feel the freedom and the certainty. So it's really the combination that gives them the strength and the foundation. And then they achieve abundance in all areas of their life. So there are 7, but don't let me go into it right now. But it's really like kind of like the essentials. We really go deep, so we really make sure they achieve in all of them individually, and that together brings the abundance in their life. And then ultimately, the third step in the second level deep is you create that respectful eye-to-eye intimacy with your partner. So it's really finding that closure, being on the same side, and look into the future together. So, and that means you level up to each other and enjoy living an interdependent relationship where you both are equally independent with loving support for each other. And after that, we have triggered so much momentum internally that you will be ready for the next step. And this is the key to repeatably achieving success with higher standards. And it's called manifestation, the third level deep. So, but here it's important, first you have to master setbacks. And here's why.
Yeah.
So think about how much time it has taken to establish your old belief system, right? Decades. So you created your old map of reality, so to speak, as a reaction to something in your past that was an extraordinary incident in your life without knowing better, of course. But that's just normal. And that is also the reason why the AIM system is more effective than others that are not taking the time to give you the necessary time and flexibility to learn from your setbacks and master them. Yeah. And then you achieve the highest form of self-actualization, knowing with 100% certainty your true why. You are here. So I always use the quote of Mark Twain, the 2 most important days in your life are the day when you're born and the day you find out why. Well, I can promise you, you will experience your second most important day in your life. And the last piece of that phase is ultimately you create, first you get back your family mojo by creating your family mantra. Something as resonating for one of my clients, we created, in German it's called echtes Herzblut Leben, means living true heart blood. And they created a whole business around that now, family business, and live their happy family life.
Yeah. Wow, that's really inspiring. And I'm a firm believer, your program is amazing, and getting to that why is really a gift. And I want to thank you so much for sharing how we can escape the hustle culture and get closer with what really matters. And I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about where they can find you and find out more about you and your programs.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna spell it out for you because my German name. So it's www. It's UweDockhorn.com. UweDockhorn.com. So just go there and connect with me there. So I have regular webinars where I demonstrate. It's not a sales webinars. It's just a live demonstration of how I help my clients. You don't need your credit card, and where I dive much deeper into what I just shared with you, but also I'm gonna reveal 3 foundational principles who are even more important than the process in itself, because these 3 foundational principles are the key for your success, in your business, in your family life, and with your loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we have promoted one of those for you and would love to do that again, because they are truly a learning experience. And and you give that freely. And so that's just so tremendous. I want to thank everyone who joined us today for this very informative discussion. And if you have ideas that you'd like to share, you can leave those down below in the comment section. We'll also include the link to Uwe's website. We do love hearing from you. And if you have a question or would like to suggest a topic for discussion, you can also email us at jointheconversation@petitequeen.com. And of course, to stay current on all of our incredible episodes like the one today, the resources, everything we offer at Petite to Queen, you can sign up for our weekly wisdoms newsletter at petitequeen.com. And so, Uwe, Amanda, thank you both so much for joining today. This has been really a great, great conversation.
Yeah, thank you so
It was a
much.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you again.